What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back again with a new video. And today, we are back once again with the prediction week. This time, we have the 2022 House map. That is right, folks. We're back again with the October edition of the 2022 House prediction map. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, of course, go follow the mysterious Twitter account in the description down below, and also join the channel. That is right, folks, for just 10 cents a day, you can join Real American Politics, only 10 cents. Pretty good deal, and I recommend you join today. And all that good stuff. Alright, this is going to be a longer video because there's over 70 House races we're going to go over. Now, this is a disclaimer. This is how we're going to determine what's a safe state, or a safe district. These are races that not necessarily they're going to be, like a 15-point victory. It's logically, percentage-wise, these are the seats that, no matter what you do, they're going to vote the way they're going to do. So that's why you have Derek Van Orden winning in Wisconsin third. He's going to win that race, no matter of how much. He's just going to win that race. Again, it's going to be rather of 5, 6, potentially an 8-point victory. So he's going to win, just a matter of what percent and all that good stuff. And these 70 toss-up seats, we're going to see which way they're leaning. Again, how I do House predictions is more so like percentage-wise. Like, you got, kind of a 90% chance of winning is safe. Anything below that's basically a lean margin. That's essentially how it works and all that good stuff. Best way to do House predictions, since margins, they're kind of hard to predict because, well, over 70 House races. So let's get into it. Let us start in the state of Alaska because, well, this is the first state in the alphabet that actually has a competitive race, the House race in Alaska. Now, remember, a couple months ago, everybody thought this was a foregone conclusion. It was either going to be Nick Begich or Sarah Palin, who was going to be the next congressman or woman of the state of Alaska. Now it's a bit unclear. It's one of those things where I'm a big fan of Palin. I used to be a fan of Palin, right? For running in 2008 as vice presidential candidate, reawakening that populist outsider base in the Republican Party. But the problem is she's outdated. She's a relic of a time that's gone. And, well, I do not like how she's pandering and saying, Mary Patola is a great candidate, while Nick Begich, another Republican, sucks. And Begich is doing the same thing, but I still think, end of the day, with a fairly competitive Senate race, that's only 2 Republicans that have a shot, I think Republicans are going to win that race, Palin and Begich. I think both of them, or one of them's going to win. It's a matter of who. But I think Republicans, end of the day, get the race. It's just, the special election is weird because it was the first time with ranked choice voting. Some people didn't understand it and all that good stuff. So Alaska, I see that seat being lean Republican. Now we have Arizona, and there's 2 seats that I think a lot of people would expect to be toss-ups. Arizona 2nd and 6. Arizona 2nd, I don't think I gotta say much. It's a Trump plus 8.5 seat in a red wave against a fairly strong Republican. So there's that. Plus Arizona 6 is a Republican trending seat that, and Kirkpatrick, the only one who could have maybe held on, decided not to run for re-election. So with all that in mind, those 2 seats are kind of safe Republican, really no question about it. It's a matter of how much of victory, but those 2 Republicans are going to win. Now, there are 2 competitive-ish seats, Arizona 1st and Arizona 4th. For Arizona 1st, I think Schweikart's going to win, all right? He runs, like a quarter of a point better than the federal Republicans like Donald Trump or, a Senate candidate like McSally, etc. And it's only a Biden plus 1.5 seat. It's one of those seats that you could really see Republicans, in my opinion, making some substantial gains this cycle. I truly think this is one of those seats that used to be a blood red seat. It's a more suburban district of Phoenix. There's, of course, some rurals to it, but it's mostly a suburban district of Arizona or Phoenix. But I think, end of the day, Schweikart should win fairly easily in that seat. Now, Arizona 3rd or 4th. Greg Stanton's going to win. He's generally speaking an overperformer. The only reason that it could potentially something happen is it's only a Biden plus 10.5 seat. And the demographics of it seems a bit more favorable to Republicans this cycle. Now, this is probably the only chance you can realistically take out Stanton, but it could flip. That's why it's not a 90% chance or safe. There's like an 85% chance Stanton wins or so, but that's within the 90% threshold. So technically it is a lean district towards the Democrats, but I still think they win it. Now we get California, and there are a couple of seats here, right? Now people are going to say, what about California 3rd? Trump plus 2 seat, Republicans have a decent candidate. Those type of seats, I don't think I got to really say much. It's just the rest of them. Josh Harder in California 9th. This is a Biden plus 12.5 seat. You know, technically it's one of those seats that Republicans could perform well. The recall actually was fairly strong here. I think this district actually voted for the recall. If not, it only barely voted against it. So that's why I think there is going to be some shift in California 9th. But the biggest problem is Josh Harder tends to be a, overperformer by a couple points or so. And it's one of those seats that, the recall, I think it almost did vote for the recall. That's why there could be some movement in this part of the state. It is a Central Valley-ish. So we just got to see what happens in California 9th. But I think Republicans, they're going to come close, but they're not going to win it. All right, it's going to be a closer race, but they won't win it. California 13th. This was a wasted opportunity. Guys, John DeRate may be the worst Republican running this fall for all House races, outside of maybe, that clown Santos in frickin' New York. This guy sucks. I mean, this guy is just terrible. I mean, he's pandering to white liberals about abortion in a district that's like 55% Hispanic. It's pathetic. Now, Adam Gray, yes, he is technically more extreme on abortion, but on everything else, he's essentially just John DeRate, but a Democrat. That's all he is. Adam Gray's the closest thing to a moderate Democrat in this seat. And he is running a decent campaign. I'm going to give him credit for that. Just this bozo here, wasted opportunity. You can't be pandering to white liberals in this type of seat when it's the Central Valley of California. It's a fairly working class Hispanic seat. It's just a waste, a complete waste of an opportunity for us to potentially flip it. It could have flipped with somebody else, but it won't. Now, California 22, this is my hot take. I think Valadeo's done. Earlier, I thought he was going to pull it off because he is a phenomenal overperformer, but that primary turnout was bad. And thinking about it more, I think that California 22nd, a fairly Biden-friendly seat, I think Valadeo really screwed up there. I mean, with the impeachment vote, he voted for impeachment. I thought, okay, it's a district that's Biden plus 13. How could this backfire? Well, it did. It pissed off the entire base. I mean, he almost lost that primary against a complete nobody. So Valadeo, I think, is done. That was a stupid vote. If he didn't vote for impeachment, he probably would win easily. He would be borderline a safe seat. It's just pathetic what Valadeo did. Mike Garcia's going to win easily. I don't think I got to say much. Big overperformer, good on the issues, did not piss off the base, and primary turnout was pretty good. I know it is technically, one of those seats that Republicans tend to have good primary turnout. Doesn't necessarily mean it turns out for, the general election, but it is what it is. Ken Calvert, this should be an easy win, but man, that guy may come very close to losing. He's doing nothing. Absolutely useless in a Trump plus 1 seat. I mean, he's going to win, I think, by a couple points, but that should not be close whatsoever. The fact that he's sitting on his ass, expecting a free win, that's the problem with Republicans this fall. They just expect a free win instead of earning it. It's pathetic. Now, Katie Porter, Mike Levin, you know, this is a tough one. Of course, Levin is a fairly big underperformer compared to Biden. Katie Porter somewhat, but I think Levin is the bigger one. And there's a chance Republicans do win one of these seats. I don't think they're going to. It's towards the San Diego area. You look here, it's getting close to the San Diego area, but it's more, guess technically you could say it's more LA, but you get the point that it's these two southern districts here. There is an opportunity for Republicans maybe to pick off one of these, more than likely Mike Levin's seat. It's one of those seats that, he is a big overperformer, or underperformer, I should say. So there is a shot Republicans could maybe pick this off. It's just not likely, but they are pouring resources into it. We just got to see. Colorado 7th, that's not a really competitive seat. Republicans aren't spending there, and it would be a safe seat if the incumbent stayed, but he didn't. Now, Colorado 8th, it's that weird northern Denver suburb that's trending Republican. That's the one seat a lot of people are talking about. It's trending Republican, but it has a huge part of the Denver suburbs in it. Now, again, it's not compared to Colorado 1st or Colorado 6th, but there is a decent part of Denver in Colorado 8th, and it's actually trending a bit Republican. The Republicans are going to win that. It's just a matter of how big of a victory and all of that. Florida. As you can see, there are a lot of safe seats here. Like Florida 7th, I don't see how Republicans lose that race. Primary turnout was really good for Republicans. If Murphy was running, there was a chance this race could have been somewhat more competitive, but it's really not. As for the other two, Florida 23rd, that's in the Miami area, or more like Palm Beach. It's going to be closer because this is a seat that's trending Republican, and it was only a Biden plus 14 seat in that part of the state. So I do think Republicans, especially without an incumbent, could potentially win it, just it's not likely. They could technically come close. If Hispanic trends continue, they could win. But we just got to see. Now, Florida 27th, Salazar's going to win. I don't think I got to repeat why. I mean, she is not the best candidate. I'm not a big fan of her, but she is decent for the district, I guess. I mean, Trump plus half seat. She's going to win, right? She is going to win. It's just a matter of how much. So that's not for Florida. Really nothing competitive. I mean, Florida 4th, that's not going to be competitive whatsoever. Florida 2nd, again, these seats are not going to be close. It's just Florida's gone for the Democrats, and they even admitted that it's gone. Georgia. I don't think I got to say much about Georgia 2nd. Majority black seat. There was an opportunity for the Republicans to potentially get close here if they did not nominate Chris West. I think he was the wrong option for this seat, but it is what it is. Now we got Illinois, and there are a couple of competitive seats here. 5, actually. And Republicans could make some ground up here. In Illinois, they could seriously pick off a couple of these seats. Illinois 6. This is my hot take, one of the hot takes of the video. I think Sean Cason is going down. That primary he had against Marie Newman was brutal for him. Plus, he is a fairly massive underperformer, and Republicans did get a good candidate here. With all that in mind, a Biden plus 11 seat in what is the Chicago suburbs, Republicans could win this seat. 100% could win this seat. And I think they will. End of the day, I do think they pick off Illinois 6. Now, Bill Foster's going to win. Illinois 13th. That used to be Ronnie Davis's district, or I think that's a new seat. Yeah, it is a new seat, I should say. Republicans are going to lose that one. It's a Biden plus 11 seat, but it's not one of those Biden plus 11 seats with a huge working class base. This is more of an establishment Republican part of the state, Democrat, whatever. It's not the most favorable to Republicans. Not much you can really gain here. I mean, why do you think they drew it like this? A line. Just line districts everywhere, everybody. So Illinois 13th, I think Republicans do in fact lose by a lean margin or so. Underwood in Illinois 14th. I think it's going to be close, but she's going to win. I think she will win by a little bit. It'll be close, but I think she does win. Now, Illinois 17th. Republicans are going to win just because it's trending Republican, not because they elected a good candidate. King is a terrible nominee. One of the worst and one of the most underappreciated ones at how bad they are. She is not good. If Bustos was running again for re-election, she would probably win this race. But she's not running for re-election, and that's what's saving Republicans from potentially getting embarrassed in Illinois 17th. So, yeah, Illinois 17th is going to be a lean Republican. Now, Indiana, there is one. Frank Mervyn, he's going to win. I had hope for Jennifer Ruth Green. She has not panned out well. What is that campaign you're running? You're just doing nothing but pandering. This is my issue with a lot of these candidates. They do nothing but pander and pander and pander. That's all they do, and it's not going anywhere. Frank Mervyn was potentially a competitive race he was in, but Republicans, they kind of picked the wrong candidate. Now, there wasn't much to choose from, but Ruth Green has not been good at all. I am disappointed in her, and I hope she runs a better campaign, but they're not going to win that race. Now, Iowa 3rd, actually is losing. Zach Nunn is running a decent campaign in a Republican seat. Trump plus half seat. She's going to lose. Zach Nunn is running a good campaign, and even the internals are showing Nunn is going to win this race by a few percentage points. So, Iowa 3rd, flip to the Republicans. Kansas, there is one seat here. Kansas 3rd. This is where it gets a bit dicey, all right? So Sheriff Davids, she is a vulnerable incumbent. Only a Biden plus 4.5 seat. Again, in this environment, I mean, with the economy being this terrible, the polling is, like I said, was going to start turning around for Republicans. It was. It's starting to turn around for Republicans. They're gaining steam. The only thing that may save Davids is Laura Kelly being on the ballot. That may be the only thing that saves Davids. Outside of that, I think she's not the favorite. I think Atkins is the favorite, the Republican nominee. I think she's favored by a couple points. Again, this is one of those seats that is trending a bit Democrat, a Kansas City burb. That's essentially what this seat mostly entails. So, Kansas 3rd, I have been lean Republican, but could theoretically go Democrat if Laura Kelly has a good performance for the governorship. Maine 2nd, I don't think I have to say much. Jared Golden's going to win. Bruce Poliquin, I mean, the only thing that may, ruin Golden is if Pelosi continues a fundraise up there. She fundraised a couple times up there, and Poliquin isn't running a bad campaign. It just, if he ties Pelosi to Golden and vice versa, he could win. But he's not really done that. He is running a decent campaign. And again, just like Sheriff Davids, what may help Poliquin is the governor's race. It's going to be incredibly tight. And I think Republicans who have a serious shot of flipping that race could seriously help Golden lose that race. But we just got to see what happens. But I think Republicans will lose Maine 2nd. Maryland 6. This is a Biden plus 10 seat, but it's one of those seats that Republicans picked a phenomenal candidate for that district. Neil Perrett. He is a good candidate, and he's running a phenomenal campaign. And I think people are underestimating Dan Cox's campaign. He's running for governor of the state of Maryland. He's not going to win, right? Like, I don't care what the polls say. He's not going to win. But what he is going to do is, I think, help somebody like Neil Perrett win. I think Cox is going to lose statewide by quite a bit, but I think he will win Maryland 6 for the statewide election. I think that's going to translate well in taking on David Trone. This is a seat that Republicans could 100% win, and they should be winning, especially in this environment. Now we got Michigan. There are 4 competitive seats. First one's Michigan 3rd. And people keep going on and saying, oh, John Gibbs, he can't win. He's running a Biden plus 8.5 seat. Peter Meyer's the only one electable, and all this crap. Look, Peter Meyer was going to lose this race if he was the nominee. Hate to break it to some of you, but if you're an incumbent in a seat like this and you can barely win your primary, all right, you lose it. In fact, he lost it. But if he would have won that primary, he would have won it by skin of his teeth. He would have lost the nominee. He would have lost the general. He would have got crushed. So John Gibbs is also running good campaign, running against a bad opponent, and in a seat that I truly believe in 2020 was a one-off Howard Swan. We saw this in the Senate race. John James did very good in this seat. I truly think Trump's performance was a one-off in this seat. We saw this in other elections in 2020. I think it was a one-off, and I think John Gibbs is going to surprise a lot of people and win that race. Slotkin, it's one of those candidates, again, I think she loses. Same thing for Kildee. The big reason is, yes, they're overperformers. Yes, they're considered moderate. My ass. But point is, they tend to overperform. The problem is, this is not the environment where a big overperformance could save you, all right? This is a red wave, and I think these two candidates, they finally started to, hit their stride. I should say hit their stride. They're kind of just at their ceiling for support. And with being a red wave, and them neither one of them really having to deal with one, Kildee maybe in 2014, but, 2014 was kind of weird and all that stuff. But I do think these candidates in a red wave, they're done. These are both Republican trending seats. In an environment like this, these are white working class seats in particular. They're going to vote heavy Republican for Tudor Dixon. And I think they're going to vote fairly Republican for the down ballot candidates. So both of them will win. Michigan 10th, also John James got that. People that say otherwise, you're delusional. That's the best way to say it. John James is 100% going to win in that seat. Now we have, let's see here, Minnesota, one state to talk about. The only reason Republicans are going to win Minnesota 2nd is the weed party. Again, send a gift basket to the weed party. They are carrying us this cycle in Minnesota. Craig is going to lose because a bunch of people are mad about not being able to smoke weed. That is the most ironic thing I've heard all year. It's going to be funny when it happens. She's done. I think she's even starting to realize she's done because the weed party is single-handedly carrying us to victories in the state of Minnesota. And there's really not much else to say right there. Now we have Nebraska. Don Bacon's going to win. People are going to say, oh, but Nebraska first. First of all, Nebraska first was a complete one-off. Special elections have extremely low turnout. You can't correlate them to general elections. You just can't. Plus, the Republican there ran a pretty pathetic campaign. Didn't campaign at all in a Trump plus 11 seat, and he nearly paid the price for it. The only reason that he almost lost was because he didn't campaign. He refused to campaign, and, well, it was not during the general election. If it was during the primary, I think it wasn't. I don't think this was during the primary. No, it wasn't. If it was during the primary, Flood would have won that race easily. So Nebraska first is going to go Republican. So will Don Bacon. He's going to win. It's just people really think that Don Bacon, who won in 2020, is magically going to lose now. What's changed except a more Republican environment? So there's that. Now we got Nevada. I think Nevada fourth flips. Horsford is not a strong candidate, fairly weak. Same thing in Nevada 3rd. I think Nevada 3rd also flips. Now, Titus is the only one I think will hold on. She still has the majority of the Las Vegas seat, but it's going to be close. Look, Las Vegas this cycle may flip. Or I should say Clark County should. Or could flip this cycle. And if it does happen, Titus is done. But I still think it's going to lean Democrat this fall. And I think this will correlate to Republicans flipping Nevada 4th and flipping Nevada 3rd. Again, this was a stupid gerrymander by the Democrats statewide. This was a stupid one. Don't know why they did it. Wasn't too smart. New Hampshire. New Hampshire 2nd. You got Bob Burns, who is great on the issues, but not great for this district. Going against a decent incumbent who, she is strong. She is a fairly strong incumbent in a Biden +9 seat. But again, this is New Hampshire. They don't like incumbents. And I just think Bob Burns, he ran the wrong district. This was the wrong district for him. He is good on the issues, but I just don't see him winning. I really don't. Now, New Hampshire 1st. Biden +5.5 seat. And Republicans picked up a good candidate for this seat. Caroline Leavitt. I think she wins. I think you're going to see a lot of surprises in New Hampshire. And this was traditionally a more Republican seat outside of 2020. You take 2020 out of it, Republicans tend to always win New Hampshire 1st. It was like a one-off to happen in 2020. That's not going to happen again. So I think Republicans will win New Hampshire 1st. Yes, you have an incumbent there, but he's not necessarily the strongest in the world. Now we got New Jersey. I don't think I have to say much about New Jersey 7th. You're gone. This was a Biden +4.5 seat, and he still almost lost. No, this was a Biden +11 seat last year, and he almost lost. In a Biden +11 seat, he nearly lost. Now in a Biden +4.5 seat, he's done. He is done. No question about it. He is done. Now, the other two Republicans aren't really contesting. Don't blame them. I mean, you're not going to beat Kim, and you're definitely not going to beat Gottemeyer. It's just a waste of time, but they aren't pouring money in those races, so that's a good thing, I got to say. Now we have New Mexico. New Mexico 2nd, I think Harold's going to win. It is a Biden +5.5 seat now, but with Ron Chetty on the ballot, and this is a seat that is trending heavy Republican. With both of those things in mind, she's going to win. She is 100% going to win, plus with the incumbency factor, plus with it being a red wave, she's going to win. Now, the other two, I think they're going to run fairly similar. I think Democrats will win both of them, but with Ron Chetty on the ballot, I think you're going to see Republicans nearly flip New Mexico 3rd. I think they're going to come very close to it, but they're not going to win at the end of the day. So New Mexico 3rd, in my opinion, stays Democrat. New York. There are a couple of New York races with one of the worst Republicans nationwide. So let's start in New York first. This is Lee Zeldin's old seat. With him on the ballot, no doubt about it. Republicans are going to win this seat. It just without Zeldin running for this specific seat, it's not going to be a safe margin. Now, New York 3rd. Oh, boy. George Santos. One of the worst Republicans nationwide, if not the worst. Not because of, his sex life or anything like that, but what he said about reparations and all that crap. I hope he crashes and burns. I hope his political campaign goes nowhere. This is one of the only Republicans who I wouldn't be sad if he loses, but I think he's going to win. And I'm not going to be a fan of that. I think he's going to win. If Susie was running for the seat again, which he should have, I don't know why he didn't, Santos would have got crushed. But I think with it being the Long Island area and Zelda being on the ballot, that's just going to save Santos from losing. I hate it, but he is going to win that race because of luck. New York 4th, that's Democrat. I think it's a bit too Biden-friendly. Yes, it is in the Long Island area. Yes, Republicans have a decent candidate. I just think it's a bit too much. New York 17, no, that's not going to flip. That's not going to flip. A bit too Democrat. You have a fairly strong incumbent there, and he's going to win. Now, New York 18th. Oh, Pat Ryan. Yeah, I think you're going to win. All right. Look, I know this was I know he won in a Trump +1 seat and all that stuff. People are going to say, you see, the special election is proof it's a blue wave. Again, Pat Ryan won because of circumstance. That was a special election, but he's going to win because this is a fairly Biden-heavy district, and it is more in his area, all right? He won because of several factors, but with it being a bit more Democrat, I think he's going to win either way. He just won because of circumstance. We'll get that out of the way. New York 19th. The Republicans will flip that one. One of those weird seats that is trending a bit Republican. And New York 22nd. This used to be Katko's district. I think Republicans hold on barely. I think they just, the skin of their teeth, win New York 22nd. So that's that for New York. Not much to say there. North Carolina. North Carolina first. That's Butterfield's old district. He's not running, but I still think Democrats hold on. Sandy Smith, I want to call the best candidate in the world. Like, she's good on the issues, but I just think this is the wrong seat for her. Like, not that she's terrible. I just think this is not the correct seat for her to be running. Now, North Carolina 13th, only a Biden plus 2 seat, with Ted Budby on the ballot, with being a red wave, and Bo Hines running a pretty solid campaign. In a seat that is trending a bit Republican, I think North Carolina 13 flips to the Republicans, and Bo Hines will be the next congressman of North Carolina 13th. Now we got Ohio. There's currently 3 seats in the state of Ohio. Chabot's going to win. There's really no question about it. I know it got a bit more Biden-friendly, but he is a very strong incumbent in an area that I think with Vance being on the ballot, the Cincy area, is going to help dramatically. Again, Vance is from Cincinnati. With them being on the ballot, I think that's going to correlate well for Chabot winning. Captor. A lot of people are going to say it's a lean Democrat because J.R. Majewski lied. All that crap. Again, we have proof, right, from the Majewski campaign. Proof from people that served with Majewski that was all bullshit. That was the narrative being pushed by Majewski. And he's running a good campaign. And I know this race is incredibly tight. With it being a Trump plus 3 seat, incredibly working class, and Republican trending, it's going to go Republican. Majewski is going to win this race. I don't care what, but Politico says. I don't care what AP or Politico says. Captor is going to lose this race. Ohio 13th. I don't like the Republican Giusetto, but she's going to win. She's going to win because of circumstance in a seat that's trending a bit Republican. That's the only reason she's going to win that race. I don't like her, but she is going to win. Now we got Oregon. Not much to say about Oregon 4th or Oregon 6th, especially Oregon 6. I mean, Democrat trending, Biden plus 13 seat in essentially what is a burb of Portland. Not a good combination. But there is one flip here. That is in Kurt Schrader's old district. If he would have held on to the primary, I think Republicans would have lost this seat. But he lost, and they picked a progressive. A Bernie bro in a seat that you don't want to pick a Bernie bro in. This is a suburb of Portland, but it's not, a woke part of it. This is one of those parts that they, love Democrats like Kurt Schrader. You get the point, they're quote-unquote moderate and all that stuff. So it's one of those seats that they really screwed up on. They shouldn't have primaried out Schrader. That's going to end horribly for them. Now we got Pennsylvania. So Brian Fitzpatrick's going to win easily. That's why I have it as safe Republican. I mean, in a red wave year, somebody like Fitzpatrick's going to win easily. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he won by so much with Trump on the ballot. What do you think's going to happen with Oz on the ballot? He's going to win. And even if Oz was on the ballot, he was going to win. It was just a matter of how much. And he's going to win by quite a bit. Now, the other 3, Susan Wild. I made videos on these 2, Cartwright and Susan Wild. They're both going to lose. Yes, they overperformed. But these seats got a bit more Republican. And with everything happening, those 2 are done. Those 2 are completely done. Plus, Republicans picked some decent candidates. Plus, these are seats that are trending significantly Republican in northeastern Pennsylvania. So, yeah, that's that in northeastern Pennsylvania, the 8th and 7th. The 17th, if Connor Lamb was running for re-election, he would have won. But I think Republicans pull it off. only a Biden plus 6 seat, and one of those seats that is kind of trendy Democrat, or I should say Republican. It just depends how you look at it. Now we get Rhode Island. This is one of my other hot takes. I truly think Alan Funn is going to win that race. First of all, the public polling is even admitting Funn is leading against Magonizer. Not a good candidate. Second of all, Democrats may have shot themselves in the foot for the governor's race. Picked a very unpopular incumbent governor to run for re-election. Barely won the nomination. Going against a strong Republican. With all that in mind, I think Funn wins. I truly think so. And plus, this is one of those weird seats. I know historically it votes Democrat. Rhode Island second. But there are parts of it that's a fairly working class seat. It's not the exact type you would see in like Midwestern, rural Wisconsin, for example. It's a working class district for Northeastern America. Not like Vermont, but kind of. But they're not completely insane. There are parts of it that is fairly conservative. It just, Rhode Island's second, one of those weird seats that you could make the argument has a fairly working class base. And I think Funn's running a great campaign, and I think he will win end of the day. Now, Texas, there are two seats really talk about the 28th and 34th. The 28th is Cuellar's district. I think he screwed himself over. Him winning the primary was a blessing in disguise, all right? Yes, he won. Yes, he was a stronger candidate, but he exposed himself for not being a conservative Democrat. I mean, he was running on ads supporting late-term abortion, all that stuff. How's that going to bode well with voters in this seat? It's not. People have always voted for Cuellar because he was seen as a conservative Democrat protecting family values and all that stuff. He kind of exposed himself. Now, Texas 34th, yeah, Florida's not going to win that one. Too Biden-friendly. I know it's trending Democrat, but you got a strong Democrat of Vicente Gonzalez. I mean, you talk about an entertaining campaign. That one is, whew. What he's saying about, Flores' immigration status, like, these are the type of campaigns Democrats, they sometimes pull their ass. Random seats like Texas 34th, they have an incredibly strong campaign from the Democrats, calling Flores, an illegal and, someone that came here through the, migration process and all that stuff. It's absolutely entertaining. Plus, Flores has just not been good at all. So hopefully, I'm not the biggest fan of Flores. Hopefully she wins, but I don't think she will. End of the day, truly don't think she will win. Now we got Virginia. And Luria is in Virginia second's done. A lot of people have admitted this. She's done. Running a disastrous campaign. And even for the crap I give Kiggins, she has been attacking Luria for the correct things. And Spanberger, same deal. She's done. Even with a more Biden-friendly district than she had in 2020, she's still going to lose that race. It's a matter of how much. Now, Virginia 10th. I'm a big fan of Hunkow, but I think it's a bit too Biden-friendly. I just think it's a bit too Democrat for Republicans to win against Wexton. Like, I think he'll get close, but I don't think he's going to win it. I think he'll come very close to. This is a seat that swung dramatically in 2021. I just don't see Hunkow winning that race as of now. Washington 6, don't gotta say much there. I mean, Democrats gonna win that seat. Not Washington 9th. But Washington 8th, one of those seats that it's fairly simple to see how Republicans are gonna win this seat. Only a Biden plus 7 seat against an incumbent who, not the most popular. Plus, you have a more competitive than usual Senate race. I think that bodes well with Republicans picking off this seat. It'll be close, but I do think they will pick it off end of the day. And I think that's it. Unless I'm missing something, which there is a strong possibility. Connecticut. Almost forgot about Connecticut. I think both of these seats, they're going to be close, but end of the day, I do think Democrats keep both of them. Hayes may lose, but I just think with Stefanowski running a disastrous governor's campaign, that kind of ruined the opportunity for Democrats to lose these, or Republicans to win these seats. And yeah, that's kind of that for the Connecticut races. And this, folks, is my current House prediction. As you can see, Republicans are still favored to win the House. And there is an opportunity for them to crack the 250 ceiling. That's long eluded them. There is a shot. But I just think for now, folks, 244, 245 is kind of where the Republicans are heading towards. Anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.